Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Explosive Arsenal by Jeffery H. Haskell, narrated by Emily Beresford. The story so far. Okay, so here it is in a nutshell. When I was 6 years old, my family was in a terrible car accident. Two things happened. My parents were kidnapped, and I was left with a broken back and a lifetime in a wheelchair. Fast forward 15 years, and I had a hypothesis. A powerful company named Cat 7 had taken them. The only problem? Cat 7 was the primary government contractor for all the U.S. superhero teams. If I wanted answers, I would need to be a superhero. How does a girl in a wheelchair infiltrate her local superhero team? By becoming more than any hero could ever hope. I'm not just an average young woman looking for her parents. I'm the world's foremost expert on, well, a lot of things. My answer was to make a suit of armor so advanced I could hold my own against any supervillain. I became Arsenal. It turns out Cat 7 was just the front for an evil, kidnapping, body-snatching, mind-reading megalomaniac born in 1903 named Erickson. He lived in a space station he built using alien technology, and the world's geniuses he'd stockpiled for over 50 years. Once I finally tracked my parents down, I found out he wiped their memories of me and made them believe they were working for the good guys. My answer to all this? I threw Erickson's space station into the sun, along with him. The problem was, Erickson knew something I didn't. Aliens were coming to destroy the Earth. And while his idea of unifying the Earth under his rule might have saved us, the fact was, they were coming. With Cat 7 destroyed and all the super teams disbanded, I formed a new team, with the permission of the President of the United States. How cool is that? I wanted a tribute to Sydney, who gave his life trying to help me. My new team was called the Protectors. Alien probes started landing and tearing up the world, trying to destroy power sources and main population centers. The invasion had begun. I also ran into an old friend, Pedrick Matahal, the chief scientist for Cat 7. It turned out he was an alien. He was trying to kidnap Behemoth, who lived after I sent her to the moon using Sydney's spear. The aliens wanted to experiment on her to try and duplicate her superpowers. I managed to stop them at the last second by blowing up their ship as it entered a quantum gate, the aliens' FTL tech. During all of this, I was having some issues opening up to Luke. I did something stupid. I broke up with him, and he quit the team. I decided I needed to let go of my fear of Erickson and allow myself to live a life, instead of waiting for the other shoe to drop. In order to prove this to him, I went to his ranch in Texas wearing my Mark III armor, and I stepped out so it was just me. And wouldn't you know it, that's the exact second an unknown alien teleported me up to their ship. How do you like them apples? It turns out they were good apples. The alien's name was Lux, and she was there to help. More alien probes attacked the Earth. One in Antarctica tried to jumpstart a volcano. Stopping it, I got the surprise of my life. Carlos showed up as the Protector. From there, we fought more probes, and then found where they were actually invading, off the coast of Greece. They had a weather machine creating a massive storm that would have wiped out all life on Earth. With Pythia's help in pinpointing where it was, and Lux's powerful abilities, we were able to stop it. But not before they took Kate away in a shuttle back to their homeworld. Pythia made me promise not to let Carlos off-world. He stayed. Luke, Fleet, Glacier, and I went. Pythia showed up at the last second and came along. Once we got to Luxilla, we fought to help her people. However, our ship was damaged, and it would take time to repair. Time Kate didn't have. So I charged into space in my new Mark IV animetal armor, shape-shifting metal for the win, and commandeered a Thune ship. Too bad that I couldn't go back and get Luke. I was on my own. One short quantum gate jump later, and I was in Thune space. With Epic's help. My help? Fine. Epic then located Kate, and I went in to find her. I had to destroy a space elevator and lay waste to an entire region before I located the lab she was kept in. They cut off her arm. I was so mad I killed the Thune that was there and decided that this ended now. I found a shuttle, programmed it to take Kate home, and sent her off. Unfortunately for the Thune, they didn't seem to create a lot of their own tech, like the quantum singularity generator, which is the sciencey way of saying black hole machine. With the help of Epic, we overloaded the safety systems and rigged it to blow. Of course, I had to keep in physical contact with the panel in order for the override to stay on. I was good with it. I saved Kate. I was about to save countless star systems from ravage by the Thune. Then Pythia showed up out of nowhere, uses her so-called magic, and flings me through a quantum gate. The only problem was, I had no way to navigate. The only problem for me, the Thune were down 40 billion people and their source of power. I woke up on a freighter in the middle of nowhere. I fought my way to the bridge and then had no idea how to fly the thing. Some friendly pirates came by and offered their ship, so I took it and went home. I do not remember any friendly pirates. Shh. Now, where was I? Right. I got home just in time to crash my borrowed ship into a giant robot that was looting San Diego. I saved the day. However, my suit was toast. Oh, yeah. Also, I was gone for a year. Hypersleep sucks. A few things happened while I was away. The world nearly went to war over the captured Thune ships. Their only solution was to take all alien materials and give them to a former superhero named the Red Wizard, and have him banish it to another dimension. That wouldn't have been all bad, if not for the fact that they raided my lab and took everything I had, alien or otherwise. A few weeks after I was home, some jokers in the Mark III version of my armor we dubbed the Armory showed up to kill me. Thanks to Carlos, they failed. But the cat was out of the bag, and I needed to put it back in. Kate and I traveled to Buenos Aires to find the CEO of a nonprofit with the hilariously bad name of Superheroes for a Super World. It turned out that the CEO was a former suspected terrorist, and Kate and him didn't get along. On the bright side, we met the wonderful Katya Titchener, or Tia. She helped us survive a whole night in the city after a force field appeared over the area and blocked off all communications and access to quantum space. Which meant I didn't have armor for almost 12 hours. It sucked. When I finally did have armor again, it turned out that the Red Wizard, the aforementioned terrorist, had stolen my designs and sold them to a supervillain who went by the Engineer. Tia and I ended up killing the Red Wizard by dropping her on him while she weighed as much as a train. That hurt. The wizard had a lot of help, almost 100 heroes and villains at his beck and call. He was using a mysterious red gem to amplify and outright give people powers. I took that gem to my lab, which ended up being a huge mistake. Something in it possessed Luke, and he vanished moments after touching it. Oh, my effing life. 1. Luke is gone, taken. At the Spire, everyone looks to me for answers, and I don't have any. Which is why I'm flying over the desert with nothing but scrub brush and cacti as far as the eye can see. I need quiet to think, and it doesn't get any quieter than this. I set the armor down in a swirl of sand and scattering leopard lizards, then let the engines wind down, and allow the quiet to invade my thoughts for a few seconds before I speak. Epic, will you walk me through this one more time? I asked my faithful AI companion. Epic and I have been together a long time. I trust him to set me straight. The gem emanates a low-level RF emission that can best be described as an alpha wave. When Luke entered the room, he must have been a match for the gem's alpha wave emissions. It locked on and, in essence, overrode his brain. I try to wrap my head around this. Even if I were a match, it wouldn't affect me. I have too many fail-safes for mind control, including an ECM barrier built into my chair. When I'm sitting in it, I'm encompassed in a rolling Faraday cage that would prevent just such a thing from happening. But Luke... I came out here to think, away from the team and the inquiring eyes of the staff. They all look to me for answers, and I don't have any for them. At least now I know the how. It hasn't even been 24 hours since he vanished. The first 24 are crucial to finding a missing person. Luke, though, isn't missing per se. He ran off. Sort of. Alpha waves beg the question. Can we track them? I can use a number of open-source RF antennas to look for the right emissions, but they are few and far between. It is too faint for us to track from Artemis. Luke would virtually have to walk by a scanner for us to detect him. I will start scanning immediately, of course. I am also using internet tracking algorithms to look for any trace of him. If he appears in a photo, is mentioned in a Facebook post, or shows up on YouTube, I will know about it. I kick a rock in frustration, watching the object of my anger sail across the soil to land with a thud 30 feet away. "Retract helmet," I order. The faceplate shifts up and folds into the helmet, which then pulls down into the shoulders of the armor. I'm wearing my flight variant, one of a variety of different versions now available, all based around the same core design. This suit has minimal weapons, but allows for faster flight than any of my other suits. It's also the nimblest of them, making me feel like I'm hardly wearing anything on top of my clothes. I take a deep breath and try to relax, try to clear my mind and see a solution. But I can't. All I can see is the look on Luke's face. It's like he was crazed. Please, oh please, let his mind be okay. God, what if it erased him the way Erickson took over people? No, I can't think like that. "Helmet on," I say as I mentally engage the M drive. In my new suit, I have the base core of animetal connecting it to me like tendons in a body, which means I have the enhanced strength of my animetal armor and some of the nerve control as well, allowing me a finer degree of control than my standard suit. The only other way to simulate strength was with my kinetic manipulators, which works, but not exactly the way I want. The solution with the animetal core ends up being the best of both worlds. It has the hard shell of my old armor on top of my kinetic shields, plus the strength and reinforced superstructure of my animetal armor. I miss being able to control everything mentally. The way the new version of the synth suit combines with my animetal tendons, I can only control some of the suit with nerve impulses, primarily flight. Everything else uses my eye-tracking HUD or voice commands. A layer of computronium in the suit allows Epic to travel with me, to keep Argentina from ever happening again. I have a version of my suit that folds into a wheelchair, and one on the MJet on top of my quantum room. No matter where I go, I will always have a suit with me. I won't rely on just one delivery method anymore, nor on only having one suit. I also try to keep at least 20% of Epic's computational power working on new designs night and day. I shoot through the sky, breaking the sound barrier as I go, letting the concussive force from the speed calm my turbulent thoughts. Flying has got to be the best part of having the suit. I wouldn't trade this for anything. Epic throws a course on the HUD for me to follow back to the spire. A clock pops up, counting down my ETA. I lean to the right and the suit adjusts, taking a lazy right turn until it lines up with the virtual path. "Incoming priority call from Kate." "Amelia, where are you right now?" my best friend asks. I check my altitude and speed with a quick glance before answering. About 22,000 feet above the Arizona desert," I tell her. An explosion of static drowns out her reply. When the interference dies down, I can hear her again. "Can you stop? Carlos and I need your help out here in California." If Carlos needs help, there has to be a significant threat to life. But why just those two? Where's the rest of the team? I know Carlos goes off and does his own thing often. He has rules he has to follow, rules given him by the Oracle of Apollo. Despite my doubts about the ancient Greek gods being alive in another dimension, I find myself missing Pythia. She certainly made life interesting. "Yeah, give me 10 seconds, I tell her. "Epic, red alert!" I throw the suit into a full stop, grunting as G's slip by my kinetic manipulators. The familiar green of my HUD vanishes as red takes over, highlighting combat systems, flight, and the electronic warfare suite. The armor reconfigures slightly as well. Extra plates on my back, which normally help with flight stability, shift around to reinforce my vitals. Kate appears with a pop of displaced air. Her black form-fitting bodysuit and combat boots look as perfect as ever. I notice she has her bandolier of non-lethal grenades strapped to her torso, along with both the IP pistols I designed for her. She also has her own versions of the Sword of Doom, a pair of 24-inch-long blades strapped to her back. She slaps the front of my armor, catching the handholds I have purposely installed for just this event. "Hang on," she says with a grin. Quantum teleportation isn't my favorite thing in the world. I end up feeling like I left my stomach behind, and it's running to catch up. The Arizona landscape vanishes, replaced by a jarring smash-up of California city and farmland. I think most people forget how many farms there are in the Golden State. My GPS flags the town as Lompoc, population 47,000. We appear in the middle of State Highway 246, where the road heads west toward the coast through a bunch of farmland. I immediately see what the problem is. "Are the rest of the protectors on the way?" I ask Kate. She shakes her head. "There's a 4-alarm fire in Phoenix they're fighting. It's just us. Come on!" she shouts as she vanishes in a pop of displaced air. The 2-lane highway is a mess of overturned cars and abandoned vehicles. Fire trucks coming from the city to the east wail as they approach, along with police and EMTs. Whatever happened, just happened. I see the thing that probably called for Carlos to be here. A series of school buses line the side of the road, disgorging children running into the nearest field and away from the fight up ahead. "Full power to all weapons," I tell Epic. "Done." I blast through the air, flipping over to give myself a bird's-eye view of the battlefield. And it is a battlefield. People flee in every direction. Ahead, there is an overturned military truck with an orbital rocket payload dumped on the side of the road, with its casing peeled back like a grape. That's when I see him. Or hims? Not sure what the plural for one person is. Epic identifies him as Multiplex, the self-proclaimed one-man army. I hate when the villains have taglines. He's dressed in worn-out clothes that look like he stole them from a homeless man. "Epic, give me the rundown on this fool." "He has the ability to replicate himself, with the apparent potential to do so an infinite number of times. It is unknown if he is his replicates, or if they are merely clones that he controls. The danger comes in his ability to absorb the properties of whatever he touches. He can only maintain one set at a time, but all his duplicates have the same abilities as whatever he absorbs. In this case, he seems to have absorbed something from the SLS rocket he has destroyed." "Oh, that's what that is," I say, glancing back the way we came. I don't know how much those things cost, but they're easily in the double-digit millions. I land on top of an abandoned SUV with all its doors open. Oh, this is a lot to take in. Epic starts tagging Multiplex's clones, showing me the locations and highlighting them so they are easier to see in the mass of people trying to flee, while Carlos, the Protector, goes toe-to-toe with Multiplex's partner. I think I'd pay money to watch this fight. His name is Galactic Knight, and he's one of the newer bad guys to show up. He's dressed in fantasy-looking plate armor. Not the real stuff, but a movie idea of it. Sleek, form-fitting, and dull gray color. He fights with what history would call an arming sword, paired with a kite shield. The shield and the sword glow with a dark light that defies classification. It sparks like two battery leads touching every time he strikes Carlos's shield, Aegis. He is an F5 in both strength and invulnerability. It is unclear if his abilities are because of his armor and weapons, or if he generates them. Awesome. Okay, Carlos has him. Let's focus on Multiplex. Any idea who the original is? While Epic scans the crowd for the possible source of the army of clones, I start taking the fight to them. I jump up in the air and do an M-Drive-assisted slam on one as he runs for a white sedan that still has people in it. I'm not sure if he's trying to hurt them or if he's trying to keep us distracted. I guess it doesn't matter. I come down hard on him, riding his head into the asphalt. The ground shatters and spiderwebs on impact. He starts to push up, trying to shrug me off, which surprises the heck out of me. IP cannon, tight beam, full strength. From point-blank range, I fire into the back of his head. He spasms as the nerve signal-disrupting energy arcs around him like a taser on steroids. He twitches for a second before falling flat on his face. It's about dang time! I cheer in triumph. My friggin' IP cannons haven't had the best track record of late. I check the people in the car. They're trying to get out, but it looks like another car collided with them and jammed their doors. I leap over the vehicle, dig my fingers into the frame of the door, and heave. It rips off with no resistance, and I let it sail behind me into the dirt. I give the woman driving a thumbs up, and she weakly returns it. There are 57 versions of multiplex. Currently, Kate is dispatching one every 7 seconds. I am still not sure if lethal force will hurt the original, so I suggest using the least amount needed. Any idea what they're after? I ask him as I leap into the air, leaving the people in the car to take care of themselves. I have scanned the databases and websites we have access to, and have not found anything of use. Would you like me to go into the NASA computers? No, let's keep the felonies to a minimum. We'll deal with whatever it is when the time comes. I zap another multiplex, taking him down before hitting another one. There has to be a reason they're here. I can't imagine.
Amelia, look out!
I hear Carlos warn me, too late. A car slams into me, knocking me from the air and crashing me into the ground before coming to rest on top of me. Ow! I say as I push against the car. It lifts off me a lot easier than I think it should. Mostly because Carlos lifts it up and tosses the vehicle into the empty field with one hand.
You okay?
You have multiple contusions. Luckily, the majority of the energy was absorbed by the kinetic shields. Epic says I'm fine. That is not even remotely what I said.
Uh-huh. I can't seem to stop this guy. He takes everything I have and gives it right back to me. We're too evenly matched. Want to trade?
Carlos asks. With his helmet on, I can only see his eyes, nose, and mouth. Sweat beads on his forehead from the fight, but he has a smile on his face. You think I can take him? I ask.
The pen is mightier and all that,
he says. I nod. Fine, take down as many multiplexes as you can. He claps me on the shoulder and leaps past me. 50 feet away, Galactic Knight swipes his sword uselessly at Kate, who dances around him like a mosquito, slashing at him with her swords in an attempt to cut his skin. Epic, spin up Rock'em Sock'em. Advanced Pugilist variant, loaded and ready. Initiate! 2. Since I decided to focus on specialized suits, a lot of problems I had trying to make one suit do everything became far easier to conquer. It only takes 30 seconds to switch suits if I need to, since my base suit remains the same. I'm just adding on to whatever I'm already wearing. The quantum gate opens up beneath me, and I fall through and past the initial staging area. The nets retract since I don't need them. I bypass the synth suit sprayer and go right to the articulating arm, which grabs me. A dozen other arms come out of the wall, removing the flight suit before bringing the much bulkier and far stronger Rock'em Sock'em suit online. When it's all done, the gate opens beneath me and I drop through again into the same space I was in, less than a minute before. I hit the ground with a teeth-jarring quake. Yo, Galactic Squire, get some! Rock'em Sock'em is 8 feet tall, outfitted with kinetic springs loaded with as much stored energy as I could squeeze into the suit. They vibrate with tension. They take 30 seconds to recharge, but my first 2 punches will hit like a train. I got the idea from watching Tia fight in Buenos Aires. I run toward him. The different parts of the suit have M-drives assisting in their movement. Epic makes the whole thing work. Since a couple of dozen individual parts have to move together in concert, I could never manually drive this thing without him.
Just because you changed your suit doesn't make you anything more than a 90-pound weakling, he says, bringing up his shield to take my blows. Kate vanishes in a pop as she goes on to deal with Multiplex and the various threats he represents. I smile as he stands there to take it. The only problem with his strategy is he thinks I'm going to hit his shield. Just before I get to him, I pop the jets and leap up. Kinetic manipulators kick in, giving me an attraction to the ground. Springs fire and I unleash a punch capable of leveling a small mountain, right on the center of his face as he looks up with his mouth open. The blow flattens his features, bones break, and his eyeballs bulge, and the last I see of him is his broken teeth flying across the ground as I sail past. I land on the other side, spinning around with a 2-step that nearly throws me off balance. I'm pretty sure I leveled him, but I don't want to get a sword through the back. He falls flat on his back, sword and shield scattering to either side of him. And for the record, I weigh 140. I don't wait for him to respond. It would be a long wait.
His vitals are consistent with an unconscious person. I give him a quick glance as I jog by, his body shaking with each of my footfalls in this heavy suit. His shattered face rolls to one side, tongue hanging out through broken teeth and mashed lips. Well, he deserved it. I don't know if he was considered good-looking before, but he certainly won't be now. Like a shot, all the multiplexes run for the fields in 30 different directions. Kate takes off to the north. Carlos heads south, throwing his spear as he leaps over a car. The magic weapon strikes a multiplex in the back, sending him flailing to the ground. This suit has my standard array of weapons. I let the grenade launcher sing its anthem. Pod after pod sticks to the multiplexes, sending them floating up into the sky. As one, they all start laughing. A creepy, almost hysterical laugh. And then all the clones vanish. A shower of pods fall from the sky, their simple program terminating the effect as they detect they're no longer attached to a target. It leaves us with a street full of broken cars, a handful of AG pods, and only one prisoner to show for it. Carlos lands with a thud next to me, followed by Kate popping into existence.
"Thanks, Amelia. I don't think we would have avoided casualties without you," he says with a smile. "I like the new look. Very gorilla of you."
I smile inside the suit. It's for dealing with muscle-bound oafs granted more power than they know what to do with, I say, punching him lightly on the shoulder. He mocks a hurt look.
"I'm not sure if I should be offended or worried,"
he replies, rubbing his shoulder. "A little from column A, a little from column B," I reply with a 50-50 hand motion. Epic is uploading the footage to the new Superhumans Crime Division of the FBI. You two mind filling in the gaps for me? I ask. Part of the reform that happened while I was away, with fewer super teams, but those teams granted expanded law enforcement responsibilities. They disbanded the DMHA, which was probably a good idea since they were partly responsible for Ericsson's rise to power. Which makes me wonder how the rest of the world deals with it. The UN turned a blind eye to the Red Wizard, despite the CIA clearly knowing he was a threat. Of course, no one did anything about it until it was too late. I still can't believe he thought he would get away with pinning all his destruction on me. And then, when that didn't turn out the way he wanted, he sacrificed himself upon the altar of mass murderer to prove superhumans were bad. I can't quite wrap my head around that level of belief. I'd call it crazy, but so-called crazy people are irrational. That's pretty much the definition of crazy. He wasn't irrational, just evil and wrong. Kate interrupts my deep thoughts. Carlos and I are tracking a new villain, or at least I think he's new. It's hard to tell since he may... She glances over at Carlos, giving him a questioning look.
"She won't believe you,"
he answers with a shrug. Wait, I say, holding my hands up. Start over from the beginning.
"This might take a while. Kate, want to take us somewhere more private?"
Carlos asks Kate, while putting his hand on her shoulder. Wow, I hadn't realized they were that friendly. The old Carlos would never, ever touch Kate in such a casual way. She looks past me to the coming law enforcement agencies. It's okay, I say, interpreting her look. Epic is talking to them right now. I think the local chief of police is having some trouble thinking of him as an AI. He keeps calling him Mr. Epic. The chief thinks it is my superhero name, though I would prefer Captain Epic. I need a costume for my digital manifestation. Maybe something patriotic. Epic, you're patriotic? Kate asks. I am an American. I was born here, was I not? America has a great many beautiful things about it, which are not erased by her apparent flaws and turbulent history. I do not think it would have been possible for Amelia to create me in any other country.
It's just, you seem so willing to break the laws when Amelia needs you to, Carlos adds.
The country and the government are not the same things. Out of the mouth of babes, Kate says with a chuckle. How about the Spire? Fleet is there so I can port to him, Kate says. Sounds good. I could use a Coke, I tell her. 30 minutes and one freaked-out Fleet later, since we ported on top of him as he was coming out of the bathroom. We're chilling in the break room. I'm back in my chair wearing a pair of tight-fitting yoga pants. Loose pants and a wheelchair don't mix. Along with that, I have a blue turtleneck sweater on that Kate bought me for my birthday. I don't even want to know how much it cost. Kate's rocking a pair of leather pants and a spaghetti string tank top with the Red Cross logo and a caption that says, "This won't hurt a bit." I have to say, she's hot. From her perfect...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?